to take a look at Tom Waits, the original version. Well, yeah, probably the original version. Old 55. Now, this was a tune he wrote in his really early days and showed up. The version we're going to look at, Tom is not really known as a guitar player. Most of his stuff is done on the piano. And even on his first album, Closing Time, 1973, it was done on the piano in the key of F sharp. And I think he played it in a few different keys over the years, and lots of people have done it and covered it. The Eagles did it, and Tom didn't think too much of their version. And as I listen more and more to Tom's, I can see why. It was, well, never mind. It's quite different. His is much slower, way more soulful, and there's this little more country and sing-songy, kind of cool campfire type song. But anyway, what I want to do in a couple albums that came out in the early 90s, 91 and 93, were called Tom Waits' The Early Years. So you really have to dig up the version from the Early Years, Volume 2, 1993, to hear the way we're going to be playing it here. It's played in the key of A, but he capoed it to the first fret, putting it in the key of B flat. So if you want to play along with him, I'm going to do the rest of the lesson without the capo. So, but if you want to play along with that version from the Early Years, Volume 2, make sure put a capo at the first fret. And he also had a lot of chords that he plays. He uses the A family of bar chords pretty commonly, never worrying about notes on the first string. So if you have a little trouble with that chord, don't worry about it. We're going to talk about a few other ways to do it. But first I'm going to talk about pretty much the way he played it. The picking is a little random, but with just a couple of main little things, starting with a bass note on the first beat, kind of keeping bass notes and pairs of notes going back and forth. Some hammer-ons and some stuff like that. So anyway, coming up, a lesson on Tom Waits' original version of Old 55, and I'm going to leave a lot of room for you to experiment with it. We're not doing a note-by-note thing here. We will with the introduction. I've got the 8 measures of the intro tabbed out exactly the way it went. But after that, we're going to just vary it, which is what he would do if he were still playing it on guitar. He probably has played it on guitar since then, but I just haven't been able to track down any of those. Okay, let's take a look at the chords and the picking and the progression and the arrangement. Well, now we're thinking in the key of A. We're going to see a bunch of chords in the key of A, 5 of them, and one sort of outside the key. But we're going to talk about a few different ways of playing all of them too. Now, all of the A chords we're going to play as a standard open A, and again, I like this arrangement of fingers: first finger on the 3rd string, second finger on the 4th string, and 3rd finger there. And every chord, well, many of the chords are going to have embellishing notes that get added on. On the A, we're going to see 2. We're going to hear an F sharp played up on the 1st string, and all of the major chords in the key are going to be extended every once in a while into being sus4s. Now, the sus4 chord on an A, every sus4 chord is built by taking the 3rd of the chord, which in the case of A is C sharp, and raising it a half step to the 4th of the scale. So for our A sus4s, and usually what this is going to be is a quick hammer on and just for a little embellishment there. We're going to hear that on the A's. The other 2 major chords in the key he plays as bars out of this. He comes up to the D chord with a bar at the 5th fret and a second bar, a hinge bar with his 3rd finger across the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings. So this is a standard way of playing a major chord out of the A families, and that leaves the 4th finger free. It's not important whether you get the 1st string clear or not, but it is important that you get the 2nd and 3rd, and really the 4th string too, even though he rarely plays it. But we want to be able to add your 4th finger on the 8th fret, the same suspended 4 thing that we had happening down here at A.